The movie opens with Travis working in a nursing home. He was spending time with them and helping them. One day, the manager tells him that they will have to lay him off because of the lack of budget, and therefore they will not be able to pay the salaries. He gets angry about this and participates in demonstrations with a group of people who have been laid off from work as well. He meets a friend of his in the demonstrations, who tells him that it is a good opportunity for him to get to know people, but he tells him that he does not want that, but rather he only wants to get a job. While they're talking, Travis notices a girl. He seems to have liked her. Suddenly, the girl was hit by two people who were fighting, which led to her falling to the ground. We see Travis fighting with them and he was about to hit one of them, but he controlled himself. Then he goes and talks to the girl and checks on her. He knows the girl's name is Bay. They start talking and getting closer to each other. She decides to travel to India and she offers Travis to go with her. But he tells her that he does not have enough money to travel because he was fired from his job. He tells her that he will try to find a job in order to get money and travel with her. When he came home, he was looking for jobs through the newspaper. He notices an ad for a company asking for volunteers to take part in a psychological experiment for $1,000 a day. In the next, he goes to take part in this experiment. There he meets a person named Barris, who was a quiet and simple person. The doctor in charge was talking to them, telling them that they would participate in behavioral experiments that would be simulating the conditions of life inside the prison. And he tells them that the main condition for participating in the experiment is that the person has not entered prison before. He tells them that they will go through many tests in order to choose a number of them. They start with the tests and ask Travis if he has had experiences with drugs or violence, but he tells them he doesn't. Next, they ask Barris. They discover that he is a committed person. After that, they continue to test all the volunteers in order to get to know their personalities and to analyze the behavior and actions of each person. After Travis learns that he will enter a small room in order to complete the rest of the tests, he begins to get nervous, but he completes the test. They show him a video with scenes of brutal violence and murder. He is afraid and could not finish watching the video. After that, he talks to Bay and he tells her that he will share the experience, and after he completes the experiment, he will get the money, and then they will travel together. The next day, he goes and meets the rest of the people who passed the exam, including Barris, who passed the exams. The bus that will take them arrives at the place where the experiment will begin. They get on the bus and then head to the place, which really looks like a prison. The doctor tells them that the trial period will be 2 weeks. He tells them that if there is any violence in the place, the experiment will be cancelled. He asks them if there is someone among them who wants to withdraw from the experiment, but they all agree to participate in the experiment because they need money. The doctor starts choosing a number of them to play the role of prison guards, and Barris was among them. As for the rest, they will be the prisoners, and their number was more than the number of the guards. They go to the cells where they will be locked up. The doctor tells the guards the instructions they must follow. There were 5 laws that the prisoners had to apply. The first rule is that they must eat all their own food. The second rule is they must meet every day for 30 minutes. The third rule is that they adhere to the place assigned to them and are not allowed to enter any other place. The fourth rule is that they are not allowed to speak until the guards give them permission to do so. The fifth rule is that they are not allowed to attack the guards no matter what. The doctor tells the guards that any prisoner who will not apply the laws will be subject to punishment, and that they have 30 minutes to choose the punishment, and if they do not do so, the red light will turn on, and therefore the experiment will fail, and none of them will take the money. The first day of the experiment begins, and the guard, Chase, speaks to the prisoners, telling them that they will call them by the numbers they carry, not by names. Then he orders them to go to their cells. The place was monitored by cameras all the time. Travis goes to his cell and he has the number 77. He gets to know his classmate Nix, who was number 17, and also prisoner 51, Benji, who is a comic book writer. After that, the prisoners start playing basketball among themselves. A prisoner accidentally hits a guard with a basketball and knocks him down. The rest of the guards come to take the guard Bosch. They start talking in order to choose the punishment they will carry out on the prisoner, because the fifth rule states that prisoners are not allowed to attack the guards. But Bosch tells them that it was an unintentional accident on the part of the prisoner. But Barris tells them that surveillance cameras saw what happened and that they know it was an unintentional accident. But Chase objects to their words and tells them that they must punish the prisoner and that they must abide by the laws because he is afraid that the red light will turn on and thus the experiment will fail. They agreed that a simple punishment would be carried out on the prisoner. After that, Chase talks to the prisoner and asks him to exercise as punishment for what he did. But the prisoner tells them it was an accident and he refuses to be punished. But Chase asks all the prisoners to do the exercises. All the prisoners started to follow his words, as punishment. Barris was happy because he now had the power to control a group of people after his mother used to control him. And she was the reason for his participation in this experiment because he needed money to treat her after she had a disease. After that, the guards met and were happy with what they had done and that they had become responsible people. They were also happy because 30 minutes had passed and the red light had not been on. In doing so, they knew that they had acted appropriately. At this time Travis is in the cell talking to his mates Nix and Benji and they get to know each other. After that, the guards turn off the lights because it is time for the prisoners to sleep. Cameras monitored prisoners while they slept. The next day, the guards distribute food to the prisoners, and the food was very bad, so all the prisoners refused to eat the food. Travis goes to throw the food in the waste bin, but the bouncer Helwig talks to him and tells him that the rules say they have to finish eating the whole thing. But he and the rest of the prisoners tell the guard that the food is bad and they can't eat it. But he tells them that they must abide by the laws. Chase also talks to them and tells them that they must obey orders. But Travis doesn't agree and throws food at the bouncer, Helwig. So Chase decided to punish the prisoners and asked them to perform exercises as punishment. But all the prisoners made fun of the guards and threw food at Helwig and then they sat laughing. After that the guards gathered and said that the prisoners did so because they knew that they would not be severely punished. Barris tells them that he was in a mental institution and they were being treated harshly and they were constantly humiliated. He asks them to do it on the prisoners. At night while the prisoners are sleeping, the guards use a fire extinguisher on the prisoners. They also took Travis and chained him up. Barris tells him that this is happening to him because he encourages the other prisoners to disobey the guards' orders. He also warns the prisoners not to disobey their orders again. After that the guards are happy that they have taken control of the prison. Travis feels so weak because of what happened to him that he is kept in chains and sleeps on the floor all night. Then he wakes up to Benji's tired voice. He calls for help because he has diabetes. But one of the guards comes and shouts at him and asks him to shut up. After that, Barris talks to the prisoners and asks them to abide by the laws until the experiment ends so that no problems arise between them. While speaking, he notices that prisoner 51 is not present. He, Chase, and Helwig go to the prisoner's cell. They found him and he was sick and could not move because of his diabetes. He tells them that the prisoner needs medicine, but they don't care about what he said, and they order the prisoner to get up and get out of the cell. Travis talks to Barris and tells him that Benji is sick and needs medicine and rest, but Barris tells him that the rules state that all prisoners must meet in line every day. And he tells him that he is not allowed to talk to him until after he allows him to do so. But Travis is adamant and tells him that Benji should rest. But Barris gets angry and starts threatening him with his cane. But Travis tells him that if he does a hit, the experiment will fail because violence is forbidden. Barris is upset by what he said to him, but he couldn't do anything about it. The guards order the prisoners to enter their cells. Travis talks to Nix, asking him what the purpose of this experiment is. He replies that they are like animals in a cage, and that this experiment will prove who among them will be the lion. He tells him that the strong will eat the weak. Travis asks him if he learned this from the prison he was in before, but Nix gets mad at him because if they find out if Nix was imprisoned before, they will kick him out of the experiment. But he promises that he won't tell anyone about it. Nix tells him that if he continues to harass the guards, he will get in trouble because they are in control of everything. At this time the guards were talking among themselves about what they should do to control the prisoners. Helwig tells them that Travis is inciting the rest of the prisoners and will make them rebel against the guards. Barris tells them that they must scare the prisoners so that they can control them. At night they take Travis out of the cell without the rest of the prisoners noticing as they tie him up and shave his head. Barris talks to him and tells him that the prisoners hear his words and consider him the leader. And he threatens him to abide by the laws and respect them or he will be harassed and get into trouble. But he was not interested in his words and mocked him. So Barris and the rest of the guards beat and humiliate him. Bosch is not satisfied with what the rest of the guards are doing and decides to leave. After that Travis returns to his cell feeling weak because he couldn't defend himself. The guards meet and talk to each other and are happy about what they have done because they think the rest of the prisoners will be afraid of them. But Bosch tells them that if they do it again, he will drop out of the experiment. But Barris tells him that if he withdraws, the experiment will end and they will all lose money. But he was not interested and left them and left. After that, Travis was looking at Barris with looks filled with hatred and anger, and it seemed that he wanted revenge on him for what he had done. On the 4th day of the experiment, Travis hides a piece of bread in his pocket without anyone noticing and then gives it to Benji because he is sick and unable to get out of bed. He tells him that this bread will benefit him because it contains a percentage of sugars, but he tells him that he needs insulin. He tells him that he tried to take medicine with him into the prison, but they took their bags from them before they enter. Travis tells him that he should withdraw from the experiment because his condition could get worse, but he refuses, telling him that he wants to complete the experiment because he wants to prove to himself that he is a strong person. At night, Travis talks to Bosch and asks him to bring him insulin, which is in Benji's bag, and he tells him that he will give him the amount of money that he will get after the end of the experiment. At first, Bosch refused because it was a violation of the laws, but then he agreed to help them, telling him that he did not want the money. Then he goes to the room where the prisoners' bags are and opens Benji's bag and looks for the medicine. But Barris and the rest of the guards are watching him via surveillance cameras, and they tell him that they saw him take the medicine out of the bag. Barris reminds him of the rules and tells him that he is not allowed to bring anything into the prison. He tells him that he will forgive him on the condition that he tells him who asked him to do so. Then Barris goes to the cell and gives Benji the medicine. He tells Travis that he will punish him later. The guards then take Travis to meet Barris in the bathroom. He talks to him and tells him he broke the rules again. But Travis tells him that Benji would have died had he not taken the medication. But Barris tells him that the place is monitored by cameras all the time and that if they know someone is going to die, they will intervene. But Travis advises him, after they complete the experiment, that he should go to a mental institution. But Barris gets angry with him and decides to punish him, and he asked him to clean the bathrooms. But he refuses and mocks him. But Barris asks the rest of the guards to torture him and drown him in water. He asked him to say that he was just a prisoner, but he refused. So Barris asks the guards to continue torturing him until Travis surrenders and says he is just a prisoner. Then Barris felt happy because he was able to control Travis and make him submit to his power. After that, Travis returns to his cell crying because he feels insulted by what happened to him. At night, Barris goes to Bosch and wakes him up and asks to talk to him. Then he takes him to the prison warehouse and makes the rest of the guards beat and attack him. The next day, he makes the prisoners watch Bosch being tortured in order to make them fear him. He tells them that Bosch will join them and become a prisoner like them. He begins to impose his control over them, telling them that without laws, chaos will spread. Meanwhile, Travis takes off his clothes and declares his rebellion against the guards. Barris talks to him and tells him to get dressed. But he is not obeyed, and then the rest of the prisoners take off their clothes. Travis then talks to the security cameras and tells them to open the gates to let them out. But Barris attacks him and hits him and knocks him down while telling him that he is not allowed to speak unless he is allowed to do so. He puts the stick on his neck and strangles him. We watch Benji try to help him and punch Barris, but Barris attacks him and hits him on the head with a stick, knocking him unconscious. Meanwhile, the prisoners and guards were amazed at what had happened. Then the guards take Travis and lock him up somewhere. Barris talks to the guards and tells them to isolate the prisoners from each other to prevent them from communicating with each other. The guards begin to take out the prisoners, and they deal with them with extreme cruelty and violence. They left Benji lying on the ground bleeding without helping him. The guards start to get nervous because of what happened, and one of them decides to withdraw, but Barris tells him that he has no right to withdraw because if he withdraws, the experiment will end. He asks Helwig to play the music, and he is not interested in what is happening because the most important thing for him is that he continues to control the prisoners. At this time, Travis tries to get out of the place he was locked in, but he can't. The 6th day of the experiment comes and we watch Barris watching the place with a surveillance camera. Travis starts talking to the security camera. He says he is going to take revenge on Barris. Meanwhile, Chase is beating and torturing one of the prisoners. Travis uses the bracelet in his hand and is able to get out of the place where he was locked up. He then saves a teammate who is being punched by Chase. They beat him and attack him until he lost consciousness. Then he takes the keys and frees Nix from the iron chains. After that, he goes to check on Benji but finds out that he is dead. Nix begins by opening up the cells for the rest of the prisoners. When Barris and the other prisoners see them, they start to get scared. The prisoners meet and decide to take revenge on the guards, so they go to them and try to break the glass. Helwig talks to Barris and tells him that they have to escape because there are more prisoners than they are. But he tells him that they are just prisoners and he decides to confront them. But Helwig and the rest of the guards escape because they were afraid of the prisoners. When Barris finds himself alone, he also decides to run away. The prisoners can break down the door and then go after the guards to take revenge on them. The guards try to open the door to escape, but the prisoners reach them and attack them and beat them. Travis stands in front of Barris and challenges him, but Barris takes out a knife and attacks Travis, who grabs the knife and tries to stab him with it. He attacks him and starts hitting him hard. The prisoners continue to beat the guards and take revenge on them for their cruel treatment of them. After that, we see the red light turn on, the door opens, and everyone gets out of the prison. They kept waiting for the bus to come to pick them up. They took the money and went back to their lives after the end of the experience that changed each and every one of them. After a while, the doctor responsible for the experiment is arrested after a group of volunteers testified against him. At the end of the movie, Travis travels to India and meets Bay. He decided to start a new life with her. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for a never-ending stream of movie magic. I will see you in the next one.